Toolshed podcast. In this episode, we're talking about something that I believe is really important. Many of you have heard me say that back in the day, I woke up incredibly excited one morning because I had this inspiration that I wanted to go and sell life insurance. Most people, when I tell them that, they go, "You're an idiot, mate. What are you talking about?" No one wakes up motivated to sell life insurance. And you're right, I wasn't. But it got me on this journey. So I was a big part of that, and understanding the reasons for insurance at that time, I learned a lot. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about understanding insurance and all the various parts of what is necessary for protection with a building or a trades-based business. And in this particular episode, I'm talking to Chitra Sharma from Brick, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell us what is your role in your company. And it's Brick. Brick obviously stands for something.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited and happy to be here. I'm looking forward to talking to Mick about all things insurance, which we love. As Mick introduced myself, I am Chitra Sharma. I work for Global Risk Insurance Consultants. So that is the full form of Brick.
There it is.
Which is also a Honan company. So we're part of the Honan Group, which is a wider part of insurance. My role here is so we are known as the Brick Builders. And we are construction specialists here. So we look through or go through domestic building insurance, contract works, public liability. So those are the really common insurances that builders deal with or have to have. So I'll be talking through that a little bit today, and hopefully can just remove the stigma behind insurance, and it's all too hard and there's a lot of paperwork.
It is one of those things that it's really, really cool when you got it, but when you're looking to get it, you kind of, do I have to, or this is a pain, or it's an added expense that I can't afford. And I remember back in the day, we used to help people understand that if you can't afford to insure the roof from falling in by a tree or whatever, you're not going to be able to afford the repairs when that happens. And
Exactly.
And so it needs to be part of our cost of doing business. It's super important to protect. There's a couple of things that we've spoken about before we got live, and one of the things is just what in your mind is the minimum requirement for, let's say, a builder. Where should they start? What should they make sure that they've got in place no matter what?
All right. So if you're a registered builder and you're signing contracts over $16,000, or you're doing renovation, new builds, anything that's above $16,000, inclusive of GST, make sure you've got your eligibility. So that is domestic building insurance, home warranty insurance, building indemnity insurance, whatever you want to call it. Those are the terms that it goes by, and you need to make sure that you come to us, or you come to a nominated distributor to organize that for. So that is your very minimum need. You cannot get on a building site without that. And it takes a while. So once you've got your building license, come to us. We'll talk you through the process. It does take a little bit of time, and there is a little bit of paperwork, so don't be scared. We'll talk you through all of that. And once you've got that up and running, you can, your building surveyor. So once you're ready to get a permit, your building surveyor will also ask for it. And it's one of those things that builders will say, "Yep, I'm ready to start a job. Let's go." And then they realize, "Oh, hold on, I need to get domestic building insurance," and they don't realize that it can take a little bit of time. It does require a little bit of paperwork. So as soon as you start thinking, even if you're a tradie going for your registered building license, whatever it may be, come and have a conversation with it. Come start talking to us early. I know insurance is the last thing on your mind, but start the conversation early so you know exactly what you need. Give yourself plenty of time. We're friendly, so we'll talk you through the information. yes, we won't have all the answers, but we'll know how to direct you because we're doing it every day. So we'll involve your accountants. We're happy to talk to your accountants as well if that's what you need. There's a lot of insurance jargon, a lot of lingo in there that not everyone understands. So we're happy to have that conversation with the accountants too. So just come to us early. We'll help you set it up. So that's as a minimum requirement. Domestic building insurance is a must. And we do recommend that you get your contract works and public liability as well. So a lot of builders don't know as well that your domestic building insurance actually covers the client. So that's actually going to be your homeowner that it covers. But as a statutory requirement, builders are obligated to take it out. But to cover your builder, contract works, public liability, if there's a mishap on site, those ones will cover you. So we can help you out with all three of them, all in the one hit. Similar paperwork again. So you're just doing it once and it's done.
Yeah, so that was my next question. So I don't need to ask that now. You only need to do it the once. But we have had in Builders Business Black Belt discussions about home owners warranty insurance and their inability to take on extra work because there's a cap on how much they've got and how much work they can take on. Can you unpack that a little bit so we kind of understand that there are some limits?
Yes.
But maybe how do we grow past those limits? How do we expand the business?
So it's very much about organic growth. Especially during COVID, we found that a lot of businesses were growing really fast because there was so much work around with the home builder grant, especially. A lot of homeowners wanted to build, they wanted to take advantage of that. So builders were getting a lot of work and they were just wanting to say, I'm capped at this amount or capped at 500K, but I need $3 million worth of limit, which, look, is fine. We can talk you through that, but it does need to be organic growth. A lot of the time, it's not that it's just a financial factor. So your financials are assessed during that home warranty insurance assessment, but it's also non-financial. So you also need to make sure that you have enough experience in that area as well. You don't want to, be building 10-story houses when you don't have the capability or you've not done it before. I think the most important thing here is that understand that insurance companies are taking on a risk. So they need to assess that risk before they can be like, go ahead and do it. So as I said, when they're setting up their eligibility and they get their license, a lot of paperwork is needed, and that's just assessing the risk. So if the insurance company is not comfortable insuring it, then that's when they don't get those limits. So not saying that they can't do it, it just has to be an organic growth. So a lot of the times what we're finding at the moment is that assessments are being done every 12 months just so we can have that organic growth. What we're finding is that we'd have an assessment for an eligibility. So, let's say you start at your 100K, 500K, whatever it may be. We'd come back, we'd get another request 6 months later to say, hey, we want another 500, we want another million, whatever it might be. So that makes things a little bit difficult because you're not really growing organically that way. There's too much going on. It's just about the business as well. If you are getting more work on, are you employing more staff to manage that for you? Are you doing all the paperwork? Many things involved. So it's not just a financial assessment. Yes, it's really important. But there's also non-financial things in the background, like your history, experience, number of people you have on the book, all that kind of stuff to make sure that, is everything there in place for the business to function, at a growth rate.
Yeah. So again, I was going to ask you a question, but you've already answered it before. So you must be some sort of mind reader, I think.
I am. Yeah.
Must be your superpower. But yeah, I was just, if there is more work on the table, and they wanted to expand their insurance, it's not necessarily the best way to go. They're better off growing at a bit more of a slower pace and creating the skills, the workforce, the systems, the procedures, the financial base to be able to grow, which makes a whole lot of sense because, even some of the biggest builders have fallen over. So just because they're a big builder doesn't mean that they're financially stable. And quite often that has come from their systems and procedures and so forth.
Exactly. And it's an exciting time. There is a lot of work out there, which is fantastic. We obviously want our clients to grow as well. But as you said, Mick, we don't want them to grow so fast that they fall over, 6 months, 12 months down the line. That's when there's issues. So, it has to be organic, not even slow. I wouldn't say, it can, you can get good growth within a few years
Yeah.
as long as you do the right things, you make the right steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DBI. Tell me what DBI stands for. This is the issue with, and I say this with builders, like when they're talking to their clients and their prospects, we just
Yeah.
use too much bloody jargon, three-letter
Yeah.
acronyms and things like that. So we need to break it down to normal speak. And
Yeah.
what does DBI stand for?
All right. So DBI is domestic building insurance, domestic builders insurance. Either or is fine. That's a fairly new term. Probably in the last few years, we've started using domestic building insurance or DBI. Previously, it was homeowners warranty or home warranty insurance. It is different in each state. So I believe in WA or Western Australia, they'll say home indemnity. In South Australia, they say homeowners insurance or homeowners warranty insurance. So it's all the same. It's all the same. It is a statutory requirement governed by the different state departments. So after a certain contract value, so in Victoria, 16K, that's where it's required that the builder takes it out. It's a consumer protection product, so it's designed there to make sure that your client or the homeowners are covered in the event of one of the policy triggers, which is death, disappearance, or insolvency. So it really is one of those ones. You need it when something dire happens. Unfortunately, it's a bit morbid. But I think you're in Tassie, Mick. So
Yes,
it's not,
yeah.
not a statutory requirement at the moment. I do believe there's talks of it happening, but not yet. But in all the other states, it is a statutory requirement. In I think New South Wales and WA, it's a 20K cap. So at 20K, you need to start taking it out. In South Australia, it's 12K. So, and in Victoria, as I said, it's 16.
So I'm assuming then that there are different criteria, and is there different assessment in the different states for builders?
They're all very similar. Yes, some insurers or some states require different documents or additional documents, but the basis is pretty similar in terms of if you're a company, you want to start up balance sheet. If you're a new company, if you're an ongoing company, balance sheet, profit and loss statements, all that jargon that your accountant will understand. But as a standard requirement, there's the financial side is important.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned before we pressed the go button for this conversation was call us. I think you may have said it 4 times.
Yes.
And I just love that because it's whenever you're dealing with some sort of statutory requirement, whether it might be a compliance with the local council or whatever, there's paperwork involved, there's jargon involved, and sure, certain builders with enough experience or building designers or architects, they get used to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But there's probably lots of younger, more inexperienced builders and tradespeople listening to this conversation, and it's just really good to know that you encourage that conversation. I mean, it's just so frustrating sometimes when I was just going through it with a yacht club I'm part of, and we had to apply for a liquor permit, and all they tend to do is just say, yeah, everything's on the website, just here's the link, go to the website. And that's when all of the distress and the overwhelm sets in, because it's not actually saying what they said in the phone call. So it's wonderful to know that you're happy to have that conversation. What are some of the common I suppose challenges or misunderstandings or issues that builders may have and call you up to help them out with?
I'm going to reiterate first, please call us. As a, I don't know if I'm a Gen Y. I think I'm a Gen Y or a Gen Z. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. The young ones, or even myself, we prefer texting, we prefer emailing, but it doesn't always get you to the right place. We might get there eventually in a week or a week and a half, but that's not of any value to anybody. So just, we're not scary. We're all right. Give us a call. We'll talk you through it. So I do want to reiterate, just get on the phone. But yeah, the queries really revolves around the forms. The forms, they can be convoluted. They are quite long sometimes. Those are the queries that we get a lot of the time. And we find that we don't get those calls until a week or so afterwards. it's just, and then, obviously time is of the essence with these things. If you're waiting to get on site, you just need to get it done. So a lot of the queries are about the forms. Different insurers have different forms. They're all asking for the same info at the end of the day, but it's just worded differently, or something's in a different spot. So especially with so things like your domestic building insurance, once you've got that, it's there, and then you just take out insurance as you need. Your annual policies, which are your contract works and public liability, you renew those every year. So you're filling out a form every year. Sometimes we'll go to market and get you a different insurer if their rates are better. So that's part of our role here, to make sure you're getting the best coverage and at the best price. But that just means the form might be different. And a lot of time builders are like, oh, last year's form was different. What's going on here? What have you done? What's changing? So it is a lot to do with the form. Sometimes there's, it's not just builders who get confused. It's the wider industry, the wider construction industry, that will get confused and ask for certain documents that are not relevant. So it's also about talking them through that. I'm also quite happy for, a lot of the times a builder will say, hey, my building surveyor is asking for this. And I'll say, give me the number, I'll give them a call, we'll talk it out, and it's done. Because then I'm going to the builder's going to the building surveyor, and then you're just having this massive chain and there's no solution. So also happy to do that as well. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's fantastic to hear that, because it's, as I said, like the majority of builders and other trades-based businesses would have that experience, that they're trying to get help. They really don't have the time for it, and they're surfing around the interwebs trying to find answers and what have you. And it's just great to know that there's somebody at the other end of the phone that can talk you through it. What are some of the issues that you've seen that have pop up that create the need for insurance? What are some of the examples of what DBI covers or protects both the builder and the client for?
Okay. So DBI, as I mentioned previously, it covers the homeowner, and that's why it's quite an emotive product. We find that it is the responsibility of the builder to take it out, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really cover them. So it covers your homeowner. If, let's say, you've got a builder, it's gone insolvent and they've done half a house. So you've got a distressed homeowner at the end of the day saying, hey, my builder's disappeared, or is gone insolvent, I need to complete my house. So that's when that policy is triggered. So that's usually when that's one of the main issues with DBI. It doesn't cover the builder. But we also see with DBI where they can't get in touch with the builder as well. So that's another issue that we have, where, they're busy. They're not able to get in touch with the builder. So they want to claim on the policy then. So we talk them through and say, look, you can't claim on it at the moment. Let us have a conversation with the builder, and just a very, very little thing to make sure both parties are happy. The ones that protect the builders, there's so many that we can put in place for a builder to have, but it really is about assessing their business first for their needs. The ones I mentioned previously, contract works with liability, really good ones to have. Highly recommend those. Your contract works will cover mishaps on site, like there's a fire, or and that can be tailored again. So if you need that to include tools, tools get stolen off sites all the time. Pretty common one. Those ones we can tailor as you need. So they can all be tailored for your business, but just come and talk to us and let us know what you need, and we can talk you through those.
Yeah. So there are policies that do cover the builder, and that the theft one of, well, not only builders' tools getting taken from site, but also materials disappear off site. So I'm assuming that would be in that policy as well. Are there any other things that you've found that probably builders don't think about, but would be a really good idea to consider, just because there is some challenges out there that they may need some protection for?
Yeah. Look, really depends on the size of the business at the moment. We're seeing a lot of issues in the cyberspace, which I'm sure you're familiar with as well. So depending on the size of your business, how much you're storing on the computer and whatnot, I would definitely recommend a cyber policy. But again, if it just really depends on the size and structure of the business, if it's really required. If you're doing your business outside of an office, or in an office rather, we can offer you insurance for that particular property as well. So we can view vehicles as well, definitely. Your fleet, we can add that to your policy, or we can have that as a separate policy, whatever you might need. So, everything that you're need for work can be covered. We can help you organise that. That's fine. But again, it's, as you said, it comes down to cost as well. How much you want covered, how big your business is. It's all a discussion to have at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that, like, if they were to give you a call, you would have a discussion or I suppose a guided questionnaire. You would have a bunch of specific questions you would ask them to flesh out what they actually need, because
Yeah.
they probably don't know themselves. So they need to be asked certain questions to make sure that
Yeah.
they understand, yeah, we need to cover that, we need to cover that. And from my perspective, like, when we're talking with our black belt members, one of our focus is teaching our members to implement a process that causes you to be paid for your quote or your proposal, because it's like a separate project, and all of that time and effort and energy and experience and knowledge and intellectual property goes into that. And I don't believe that the customer or the prospect at that point deserves to get that for nothing. Like, these people have invested huge amounts of time and money to be able to put that thing together. So it's not something you'd give away for free. Being able to have that protection for your business is a cost of doing business. That all needs to be factored into the overheads and so forth. So to me, they should be having a conversation with you to say, what is everything that I need?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's peace of mind for them as well, knowing that, look, if something should happen, I've got that covered. And you're right, we would ask certain questions. We don't want to overcover as well. That is a thing. You don't need to be overcovered, because then you're paying too much premium. But yeah, we'll ask the questions. What's the largest contract you're going to do? We're not just going to insure you for 5 million, because you're not doing projects up to 5 million. That doesn't make any sense. So those are the kind of questions we'd ask. You're working Australia wide? You were just working in the one state? Things like that factored in. Similar to your car insurance, they always ask, do you park in a garage, or where are you parking? What suburb? Things like that.
Yeah. We had a conversation with a bunch of people from your company a little while ago, and me and our good mate Scott Carson, and we were just talking about the challenges in the building industry around mental health, and it was really to me very exciting, and almost a relief to hear that your organisation is hyper aware of the problems, and really wanting to, in whatever way possible, contribute to resources and spaces and ways to be able to get people to start to talk about those sorts of things. And I think, just in a really simple way, that stress can be the beginning of a very slippery slope, and just being able to talk to you and have somebody in your corner that really understands it as a specialist from their perspective can go a long way to getting rid of that stress. But I'd really like to hear your thoughts about what your organisation feels and thinks about contributing to mental health, and the cost that it can create within the industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, I was saying to you before the podcast that we, as a team, in our Brick Builders team, we all have little initiatives of our own. I guess that's where it starts as well. That our team in itself is so mindful of mental health that we're always trying to do our little bit. So at the start of November, we've had an email go around. A few of the guys on the team are doing Movember. So when it comes at a personal level, I think it spreads out to the wider company as well. So we're really supportive of our team members taking part in those initiatives. And then you're right. Just very, very small things of running a business can cause that stress, and then it kind of has that flow-on effect as well. So in terms of support, again, I probably can't stress this enough, is to just don't stress out. Pick up the phone, let us know what's going on, especially when it comes to insurance and your business. Again, it's the last thing on your mind, but let us know early. come to us first. Because you just sometimes don't know what little things will have an impact, and it could just be a 20-second phone call at the end of the day. And if you have that 20-second phone call and it just mitigates the issues that you might have down the track that causes you a 2-hour phone call and involve other parties like your accountant or legal or anything like that. So yeah, I'm a big believer in asking questions. Even if you can't get on the phone, just send us a quick text or a quick email and say, hey, this is the issue. Give me a call if I need to, or I'm just reading too much into it. Peace of mind is really, really important. You guys have got enough to stress about on site. You don't need to worry about insurance as well. So yeah, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole being able to talk to someone, super important. But when I'm listening to you talk, I get a real sense that you are genuinely passionate about this. And what I'd love to know is how you got involved in doing what you're doing. Like, why did you decide to go in this direction? Because I genuinely did have an epiphany that I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell life insurance. I was pretty excited at the time. After I started doing it for a while, I wasn't so excited. But what drove you to be where you are now, to take up this position?
Oh, goodness me. I hope my parents aren't listening. They really wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer. So, look, everyone I've spoken to, and it goes the same for me, who does insurance, they kind of fell into it. I think, Mick, you're the first person who said that I wanted to do life insurance. Yeah.
You can't regret it, because it's like the actual there was only certain parts of it which were quite ugly. The rest of it, like talking to people and visiting them in their house, and seeing the relief and appreciation on their face when you had them all sorted out, that was great. But what was really great, and I'd be interested as to whether you guys do much of this as well, that there was a real personal development focus in the company that I was with. In fact, I've got a personal mentor who's one of my best friends now, that was the sales trainer back then, and he just got me started on the personal development journey. It wasn't about sales for him. It was about how your mind works and what you need to do to stand guard at the door to protect your mentality and manage your emotions a lot better. So I have all of that to thank, and I wouldn't be here talking to you today if I didn't do that activity, because that introduced me to personal development, which started all of this. So what was your journey?
My journey, it was probably, I guess it's really funny that you mentioned that, because the whole journey of this has led me to speak to you, because the whole idea of me, I always wanted to help people no matter what I did. That was the goal. So I came out of uni with marketing management degree, didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I fell into insurance, and I was like, look, let's just do this for a little while. And as I learned more and more about the industry, as I started doing more work in the home warranty insurance, or DBI, domestic building insurance space, you come to realize that, hold on, I actually making a great impact on people's lives. So I was like, hold on a second, I can, do this as a career, but I'm still doing the end goal, which is helping people. So that's where it's at for me. It's been almost 7 years, I think, doing this in the construction space. And yeah, it's at the end of the day, we are helping people's business grow. We are talking them through. At the end of the day, if I can, take a little bit of stress off someone's plate, make their life a little bit easier, give them peace of mind, then that's a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I always endeavour to do in these conversations is to learn a little bit more about the individual. Because, I mean, it doesn't matter how much, AAMI do their advertisements with the lovely lady on the motorbike coming out on the side of the road when you've had an accident or whatever, to put the human face on it. When you call a big organisation like that, you're kind of being treated by a number, and I just don't get that sense with your organisation. Everybody I've spoken to in your organisation are real humans that really care, and it I don't think I'm exaggerating when it said it blew me away, because
Wow.
back,
Thank you.
you know, being involved in insurance, a lot of people that are sort of at the back end are, let me say, that actuary type personality. It's all about numbers. It's not about the person and helping them. And I just didn't get that from anybody in our group conversation. It was really, really refreshing. So, I want people to understand that you guys are a bunch of humans who give us stuff, really do care. And I'd like to know a little bit more about you. So one question I always ask, which is a little bit left field, but if you weren't doing what you're doing right now, what other occupation would you just love to do?
I actually have a big thing to work with blind people, honestly. So if
Wow.
I wasn't doing what I'm doing, and it's a bit on me, I can still do this outside of work. I just haven't gotten to it, but it's something I want to do as a voluntary position to work with blind people. I think it's a privilege to be able to see what I see, good, bad, ugly, whatever it might be. But people don't really get to see the world, how beautiful it is.
Mm.
I think that would be really important for me. So to work with the blind.
Is there a reason why you chose blind over other senses, or sight
Um,
over other senses?
it's just something that comes back to home. So I'm Hindu, and just a bit of religious background. It's something that they say it's really good, and it's very to be able to see is a privilege. So
Mm.
I've been privileged enough to travel. I've been to India many times, Europe, whatnot. And I've seen all these beautiful things, and just love to be able to tell people or that can't see or don't have sight that the world is beautiful, and share experiences and hear from them as well. Because the thing is that when you don't know what you don't know, and when you get to hear from someone else's perspective, it's just different, and it
Mm.
opens up your mind a lot. So
Yeah, that's wonderful. Great to hear. Second question, 3 parts, left
oh,
field.
I like to steal.
You don't need to take notes. Is 3 people, living or dead, who you would like to invite for dinner? I'd like to know, just in case I might get an invite as an extra, if these people are interesting. So who would be at your dinner table, living or dead, 3 people?
So Indra Nooyi would be on my table. She is former CEO of Pepsi. I feel like she is an absolute visionary when it comes to leadership.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins, he is someone that I admire as a mentor. He is a fantastic public speaker. Not sure if you're familiar with his work, but he will do a
I've
5
been there and done that.
Oh, you've done it. Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm hanging to go to one of his events that I booked tickets for pre-COVID, and it still hasn't happened.
You will absolutely love it. I think I first started reading, it might have been Unlimited Power back in the early 90s, The Giant Within after that, and then started buying firstly it was the cassettes of Unlimited Power with the conversations with other people, and like they were just wicked. I still remember some of the interviews to this day, and then eventually it went to CD, and then we went and saw him live at and Unleash the Power Within at the Sydney Entertainment Centre with 4,000 of my closest friends. Walked on fire.
You did the fire walk?
What was that?
You did the fire walk?
Did the fire walk. There was like 40 lanes of fire out in the car park of the Sydney Entertainment Centre. I met a lady who has remained a good friend. Her name was Alana, and she had she was a helicopter pilot, but she was a plane pilot, and she was in an aeroplane searching for a crashed aeroplane, a light aircraft, and her aircraft crashed, and she lost the use of her legs. And so she was at this first Tony Robbins thing that I went to, and she did the fire walk on her hands. So she had long, beautiful blonde hair, and we had to tie it up so that didn't catch a light, and hold her by the feet as she walked across the fire on her hands. That was amazing. And then we did um, uh, Date with Destiny in Maui in Hawaii. Then I think we did Financial Mastery in Sydney, and then Mastery University in Kona in Hawaii, which was 9 days, where I personally met him and all that sort of stuff. And it's all just life changing. Go.
Yeah,
You'll absolutely
absolutely.
love it.
And if you're not convinced, I recommend it to everybody. On Netflix, we've all got a subscription. I am not your guru. If you don't have
Yeah.
one, I'll give you my subscription. I'll give you my details. Get on there, watch it. I still remember 2017 changed my life after I watched that. So Tony Robbins is coming to dinner,
Yeah.
and I
So
don't
am I.
cook. Yeah, you're coming too. Okay, cool. And then I have one more, but I'm going to mention two more just
Yep.
because I like to be left
Oh,
field.
you've got a big table.
I'd also invite Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yes.
He's fantastic. He's gone now, but yeah, his books, again, very similar to Tony Robbins as well. I'm in the middle of reading his book named Real Magic, just fantastic. And Rhonda Byrne. So if anyone's into the law of attraction and the universe and the secret, that's all of that. Again, been life changing. So I had Tony Robbins and Rhonda Byrne come into my life at a very similar time, and it's just changed it. So it's things that you could practice very easily, but you don't, because you get bogged down in the day to day, the stress and the work, and you don't really take the time to reflect that, actually my life's pretty good. You don't really count your blessings. We count our problems as humans. So it's just about just flicking the switch and changing things.
Yeah. I think that what you just said there is absolute gold and deserves to be reflected upon. About, we just get busy and we don't know how good things are. And one of the things that we have conversations in Black Belt all of the time about is, a lot of the gurus say, just look forward. If you're driving the NASCAR, don't look at the wall. That's where you'll go. Look where you want to go. If you're driving a GP motorbike, look where you want to go through the corner, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and that you do need to do that.
Yeah.
But you also need to have part of the process where you look back and see where you've come from and what you've achieved and who you've become, and what impact you've created, because just looking forward all the time only gives you that perspective. And, if you look back at you're walking across the snowfield from the tree line back there, you look back and see how far away the tree line is and see all of the footsteps that got you to where you are now. It gives you perspective on progress, and that feeds the energy to do more and more and more. So that would be a pretty wicked dinner.
And don't forget to enjoy the moment as well. Very important to. We had a workshop on Friday with the team, and one of the things and one of the goals that I came out was like, I've been so hell bent, and there's a little bit of history to this, but I'm so hell bent on building this life, and this is what I want to do, this is where I want to get to, and I've just forgotten to live in the moment. So I think that's really important to reflect back, always look forward, what's next, but don't forget to just enjoy this moment as well.
So were you given any tips in that workshop as to how to do that? Because it's like, this is important information for the people listening to this as builders, because all they're thinking about is getting this project done, and then when they get that project done, it's getting the next project started and all of that, and they don't live in the moment. They don't often appreciate what they've built. And I mean, from a business point of view, and who they're helping, from employing the team, and who they're helping by buying materials from their suppliers, and who they're helping by employing subcontractors and their teams, not to mention the life, the environment, and the effect that they are having on their prospects' lives in the future by creating this environment. They don't think about it. So what tips did you get from the workshop?
I got none tips because I was running the workshop.
Oh, okay. Well, give us the tips that you were teaching.
No, it was just we had to come up with a goal and something that we were passionate about. So mine was really that, look, and the history is that I never had the opportunity to develop a passion, never had an opportunity to, develop a hobby, because I was always helping my family. And I guess that's the history there, that my parents migrated to Australia 35 years ago, and it was always about building a life. And I'm in that same mindset. I've got to build a life. never want to be in a situation where I can't support my family. So it was all really about taking a breath, and that's probably the best advice I can give, is take a breath. Build is so important to this country, but I think they need to realize what they're putting out there, that, I've recently just built myself, and it's not a house, it's a home. So
Yeah.
I think they need to really reflect and appreciate the fact that they're building people homes, and take pride in that. So that's probably the best advice I could give to builders, to say that, enjoy what you do. Yes, you're looking forward, you're looking for the next contract, the next job, tender, whatever, but, really, really take the time to appreciate, that you're building someone a home. That's their world. The kids will be born, they'll grow up, they'll make a life for them there. And, I think that's so fantastic.
Yeah. And that's why we do what we do. Well, that's why I do what I do, because I can see that the value that quality builders contribute to society, and I don't think they get the respect that they deserve for that. Much of that is because of the way that they run their businesses, and the advice that you've just given there is very helpful, because they need to be stepping back and going, I'm not just providing this box.
Yeah.
I'm providing memories. I'm providing an environment. It's much bigger than the box. And in fact, in Black Belt, we're forever talking about builders don't understand what their product is. The product isn't the house, the extension, the renovation. The product is the quality of their client's experience, because that's the thing that will be remembered, long after handover. Is like I often say, someone comes around and visits the homeowner 2 years down the track, and they say, I'm half interested in building myself. What was it like? What was your experience? And nobody walks around and says, come and have a look at these miter joints. Like, they are wicked. Like, they just don't.
I'm loving the cladding here.
Yeah, like, it's just have a look at how straight that is, and how plumb and level, and what they don't talk about any of the technical stuff. They talk about how they felt, how the builder made them feel, and we're forever talking about your job is to support, to guide, and protect. And that's part of what we're talking about here today. You need to have that protection to protect your client, protect yourself as well, but you need to have the things in place to protect the client as well. So I just love everything that you're talking about. Where do we contact you? Like, how do we find you? People listening to this, what's their first steps to perhaps even have a conversation with you? I don't know whether you do any sort of like an insurance health check, like, have I got the right stuff? Have I got the right cover? Have I got everything I need to be able to protect myself and my clients? Do you have something like that? And if so, what's the first steps?
That's a great idea, Mick. Maybe we'll do that. Look, so for the people that don't want to call and want to know more about us, our website is there, brick.com.au. All that information is there, but we are updating their website. That is one of my goals as well, to make sure that, just as they're getting to meet me and seeing my face, they can also see my team, because it's really, really important for them to meet our team. They are humans as well, just like me. They've all got a story. Again, Mick, what you said about builders, they're selling the end product, or they're building the end product, they're making memories. Say the same thing to my team, that, yes, we're selling insurance, but we're here to provide that customer service. At the end of the day, we want them to have a good experience with Brick. That's what we want to be known for. So they can jump on our website, they can give us a call. All details are there. We don't have anything as such as a health check, but as I said, we're happy to have the conversation.
Yet.
Do that. That's fine. Yes.
Now, one other thing, because there will be people listening all over the country, potentially even around the world, but I know Brick is primarily in Victoria, but you said that there are some offices in other states as well. Tell us about that.
Yes, so we have offices in New South Wales and WA as well. So we can look. working hours pretty standard, but we are available in states for that local touch. So if you want to come visit us as well, we can help you out that way as well. So some people prefer coming to face so they can actually see who they're talking to. It's just easier for them. That's fine. We're here. We can help you out if you want to come into the office as well. That's fine.
Yeah. Thank you very much for putting the time aside. And I know that there was a fair bit of effort that went into organising, even having this conversation. So I really appreciate you and your generosity of your time, your knowledge, and your effort to make this happen. So it's I'm very, very thankful about it. It's very refreshing to speak to somebody in insurance that is a real person that does care. We've heard a little bit about your story. I really hope that people reach out and have the conversation and make sure that they've got everything you need. So appreciate you being on the Tool Shed today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to come on here, talk to you and hopefully the wider construction industry, builders, and just removing a little bit of that stigma, as I said in the beginning. It's not scary. It's okay. We're happy to have a chat. That's all I can say.
It's fantastic. So there you have it, folks. There are people in the world that can help you with those scary subjects such as insurance and how it works and what it does and what is best for you. They are real people. They really care. Their website and contact details will be in the description for this podcast. So I really encourage you to reach out just to have a chat and make sure that you've got everything that you need to have, because as I said, and as we always say in Builders Business Black Belt, your job is there to support, guide and protect. And not just protect them from dodgy builders and what have you, but have all of the protection in place that you need to have in place to genuinely protect your customers. So hope you enjoyed the podcast. We'll be back with another one before you know it. That's us. Bye for now.